Guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do Jim Starlin's Breed, issue number 2 by Bravura Malibu Comics. And yeah. So, let's start here. In the apartment in New York, 1977. Wait a minute, 72. My eyes is getting bad real quick. Not sure what's going on. Our main character, as we saw in the last issue when he transformed in Nam, is Raymond Stoner. Well, Raymond Stoner came back to America and he was not, being, how do you say, welcome with open arms or something, because he's not a reporter, but he's a photographer or something like that. And he's getting jobs, he's getting fired, etc. And his apartment looks like a freaking mess. And he doesn't know what to do anymore. So, but then he remembers that in his stash that he had got from Vietnam, or still has from Vietnam, there's a particular kind of drugs here. So instead of, I don't know, sobering up, he's kind of go into the rabbit's hole, I guess. So he takes the drugs, but instead of, staying at the apartment because he feels miserable there, he's going outside for a walk. What could go wrong? So the drugs kicks in, and then woo, hallucinations, and this is typical Jim Starlin stuff, right? He wrote it, he created it, he inked it, I believe. What does he need more? Drew it, created, written, and illustrated. Yes, okay, cool. So okay. He says, but then he says, okay, keep walking, hold it together, steady. But then he comes across this particular house or apartment or whatever it is. And he knew that this place existed, and I'm not sure if this is part of his hallucination or not. And he says, I'm trying to return to this place, but every time I look for it, it wasn't there. So he thinks, okay, this is probably the last chance, so I'm going in. And the door is open. So he goes in, and still under the influence, I presume. And like I said, Stalin stuff. And he says, this can't be real, man. I know the neighborhood. Spread this big couldn't be without me stumbling upon it before this. Only one answer fits. And he says, well, I'm still stoned. That's the only reason. And he calls it acid reality. And look, this demon statue with this head as a cock piece, something. And he says, just lay back and enjoy. Well, I'm not sure if I see stuff like that, I would enjoy it. But hey, I'm not a drug addict. So he goes to a well and he wants to drink from it, and then sees this woman. And he says, this lady looks familiar. I think I've seen her in an old sitcom or some kind of a horror movie. And then he is disturbed of what he sees, and he wants to stop it, but then the water's changing. And then we see the things that happen in Nam, in last issue. And he also sees him transforming into this monster, and he says, this just can't be. And he panics and he flees. He wants to get out of there. But then this woman that he saw in the wells comes out, but she immediately goes back into the door, and he's gonna follow her. He says, "You were in the first vision. Wait, don't run away. I won't hurt you. I just want to talk to you." And then this is happening. This is so cool. This is so cool. But then he hears a voice, and that voice, or that whatever this is, throws him a sword so he can defend himself. But he's getting overwhelmed. Meanwhile, in I believe Washington D.C., the general or a general is giving funds to the father of Raymond. Because the Pentagon doesn't believe in Project Night Raiders. So he says, well, you proved what you have, I believe you, although the others don't. So we're going to use different funds to fund your project. But then he says also, but you also look for a photographer, right? And so he says, "What about your son? Your boy of yours? He's a shutterbug." I never heard of that sentence, but yeah, that's. I mean, I love that slang from that time period. And so he says, "Yeah, I talked to him, see if he's interested." So they're being sent outside, and then his buddy, I said, "You're not gonna really?" He says, "Yes, I am. It might help straighten him out. The lad's been sort of lost since his discharge." He says, "Lost? This kid's been stoned out of his head every time I've seen him lately. You can do this, Alex." He says, "He's my son. I got to give him another chance." Okay, interesting. So I wonder what this whole project is all about. Meanwhile, yeah, Raymond is still in. Well, he's getting eaten, and the art looks freaking awesome. But as you can see, he's changing. I love transformation, right? I love when it's happened and not, just like in a Hulk. It's just cool. So he changes into his demon form, but not fully. He's still transforming, and I like that. Instead of, okay, here's the bulky big guy. No, he's still transforming. You can see it on his horns. His horn is still growing. His hair is receding. Still more. He's getting more mass. And then, yeah, he's now a big, bulky, hulking monster with receding hair. What is it? What is it with Jim Starlin and guys with receding hair in his comics? But actually, look at that. It looks freaking awesome, man. He just cuts him in two, and the teeth is breaking off. Yeah, awesome. This is what I want to see in comics. But then this happens. So it looks like somebody flushed the toilet, and then it's gone. So, but he is shaking and he's screaming. But I like also the fact that we don't see that scream. How do you say? Lettering. It's just pure visual storytelling. I like that. So he goes outside and he sees that that person that helped him that threw him the sword. So he approached it, I guess, and he says, "Who are you, and what happened over there?" So this creature says, "Well, that's just Waldo." That made me chuckle a little bit. Just a shape changer with some telepathic tricks that hangs out there. He was never any real threat to you. I said, "Did you kill him?" He said, "Just bloody him a little bit." "Bloody? You just cut him in half." And he says, "I see. Well, had to let him play with you a bit. Reckon it was one of the only way to find out if you are really worth the effort it's going to take." So, but then Raymond says, "Who are you?" And then it says, "I've gone by a truckload of names over the decades, to change them like you probably do your clothes. After a time, names and titles don't matter anymore. But I've always been kind of partial to the monker I started off with." Okay, and then the last thing you see is this. "You can call me Rachel," and that seemingly is too much for him, and he is falling unconscious. He says, "Wonder if he's always react this way to a pretty face. What a turkey." Oh, I love it. Yeah, this is out of nowhere, man. This is so cool. It's so cool, man. Yeah, like I said, in early videos, there's something about older comics that appeals to me. Although I come from that era, but somehow I missed all of these great, in my opinion, of course, great new, quote unquote, new comics that I never heard of, and then now I have the chance to find out for myself if that's actually if it's actually worth it. And there is something about all the comics that feels, how do you say, different, way different than now. And with that I mean, I'm gonna show you something that is coming up on a later date. Cops the Job. This is a Marvel comic, and I hear people say, "Well, Marvel comics and DC comics are made, those are for kids, not for adults." which is of course not true. But this comic, this first issue, I only read the first issue. This comic blew me away. I had no idea that what it was. I thought, you know what, just a story about cops. This was gritty. It was realistic. It was mature. It was raw. It was unfiltered, and it's a Marvel comic. I don't know why they don't do this anymore. This was just I was so surprised that I thought to myself, what? Where is there no mature title here somewhere? Because the things that are in here, and I don't mean, blood and guts, but no, this whole vibe. It's like I said, it's raw and unfiltered. It's real. It's cool. And I have this with Breed also. I'm completely different. This is more comic, demon monsters, and this is more realistic. But I enjoy all the comics. Not all. I mean, there's some shitty comics as well. But I am lucky with what I've got. I mean, 90% that of the comics that I've read, older comics, I enjoyed very much. And there's about 10% that I think, okay, it was a mistake, and that happens. But this and this, yeah, great stuff. But I'm going to repeat myself, of course, if I'm doing the review of Cops very soon. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked the video. Let me know what you think about the comic, and and about modern and older comics. And yeah, see you next time. Bye-bye.